George and Paul on To Your Way for Simplicity Funerals and HarveyNormanPhotos.com.au. Create photo books of all your favourite memories.
9:20 with George and Paul. Not a bad looking day. Lots of cloud floating around. Let me see the temperature. It's 13 degrees, so it's come up a little bit.
Rain later on?
Yeah, a few showers. Top around 19. I reckon it's a nice stay at home, stay close day.
Yep.
Glass of wine.
Yep. Bowl of spaghetti and some fruit.
What you do the spaghetti is a good idea. Watch your DVD. Got a couple of DVDs I want to have a look at.
Yep.
I think a pretty lazy day. Work around the house? Forget it. No. Australia became the first G20 nation to raise interest rates this week by 0.25%, or if you like, 0.25% to 3.25. It has been reported as a signal that the critical phase of the economic crisis is essentially over. And if you believe that, I've got a Harbour Bridge you might like to buy. Actually, I was watching Fox News during the week, and there was an American politician citing Australia becoming the first G20 country to raise interest rates and talking about when it would happen in America. So it's certainly got world attention, the fact that our interest rates are on the move up. Now, we've all been talking about it and saying that it was inevitable. It was a case of when, not if, and that's true. The next chance the Reserve Bank will have to put interest rates up is on Melbourne Cup Day.
Yeah.
So you can bet in the cup and on the interest rates if you like. Now we're going to have a chat to, we've got Wilson Luna on the line, and it's a financial planner and author of a new book called Your Family, Your Money, Real Money Advice for Families. And there's a lot of things you can do to sort of protect yourself if times get rough with interest rates. Hello, Wilson.
G'day, guys, and thanks for having us on.
No problem.
All right, pleasure.
Congratulations on your book. Had a look through it on Friday, and it seems to be full of no-nonsense advice for ordinary people and for ordinary families, which is great.
Yeah, that was the main goal behind the book. And what we said was when we read it, we thought, how do we find out, instead of writing a book that I suppose comes from, the past, we sort of said, let's include not only the effects of this global financial crisis, but let's also ask Australian families what they're going through. So part of the process was get out there, and we surveyed over 1,000 families and said, what do you want to know? What do you want to get over? And I think one of the humbling bits for us was, we really got heartland, and we said, there was so many messages coming through about what they were feeling on a day-to-day basis and what they wanted solutions for. So it was amazing. Yeah.
All right. So what? Just give us the handful of things that are important for ordinary families from your research. What did they want to know about?
Yeah, well, a lot of them are in debt, and debt. The cost of debt is rising in a lot of cases. Although some reports seem to be coming out last month that a lot of the credit card debt has reduced somewhat. We're still a nation that love our property, so there's a lot of debt out there at the moment, and the interest rate hikes that happened last week are something that I think it will begin to worry families, particularly those that are well extended on that area. So we figure the first step is don't worry about anything to do with wealth building. First thing is get your debt manage your debt, and I suppose begin to control it well.
Yeah, but would 0.25% worry people, given that they're probably the same people who've had their mortgage reduced by 2, 3, 4% over the last couple of years or so?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because pre the global financial crisis, we had the mortgage rates a lot higher, and that was the major concern. Over the last couple of months, only look back 2 months ago, our major concern was unemployment. Are we going to be able to maintain our jobs? And I think there's a lot of families out there are thinking, oh no, our interest rate's going to start going up to those levels that we found very difficult again. And it's a psychological effect because if we look at the central bank or the RBA, there's sort of big concerns regarding, where's the economy going? I mean, we've got, consumer spending seeming, or consumer confidence seems to be on a bit of a high at the moment, and also strong retail sales. So there's all indications they'll continue putting them up. So I don't think this particular rise is the one that people are worried about. I think they're beginning to worry about, the subsequent rises that happen.
Yeah. This is the signal about the direction that it's going, and we were talking earlier this morning about the American deficit in the trillions of dollars, which is a figure that people can't get their head around, and things aren't looking good there, nor in Europe. We seem to be a little ray of sunshine at the moment, but common sense would tell you, Wilson, with your family and your credit card and so on, is the number one thing to do right now, if you believe that things may get a bit rough with interest rates, is to get rid of your debt as quickly as you possibly can.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why the first stage there that we go over is get rid of it. And there's a few suggestions there. Number one, use these low interest rates at the moment. Although we have had a little bit of a hike, like you mentioned, we're still in a position where, interest rates are historically low. So use that extra money that you've got there, if possible, to either, pay off some debt, or B, at least consolidate debt into your cheaper type debt, i.e. your home mortgage. Another step is obviously, people are, there's a lot of comment out there, should we fix our mortgages or should we leave them variable? That's conditional on your particular circumstances. It depends on your particular household. If we fix the mortgages, one of the advantages of it is obviously you'll have confidence in what you need to pay every single month, and it'll be consistent. You can also budget around it. The disadvantage is at the moment, because we've got a situation where we've got a J curve facing upwards, i.e. the Reserve Bank looks like it's going to keep raising rates, it's going to be a lot more expensive to fix your rate. So you're going to end up paying more than what you would on your variable.
Yeah, now, is there lots of advice in here for people who don't own their own home?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely there is, because it's what we've done is we've covered up the four main stages of where you are as a family. So if you turn around and you say, okay, well, I'm not in the debt situation because I don't own my own home. Okay, great. What's the next stage that I should be looking at? Okay, well, the next stage is, make sure you protect any wealth that you've built. So if you've got a bit of money or you've worked all your life to build up your money, how do we protect it against things like, in current environment, how do we protect it against potential redundancy? How do we protect it against a potential sickness in the family? If once we manage to protect it, then we say, okay, let's look at the third stage. And the third stage is, I think one of the biggest problems, or I suppose one of the biggest challenges that a lot of Australian families have is, we don't focus on money per se. So sometimes you can get out of whack only because of everything that's going on around us, particularly with this GFC going on, and the little effects that are coming out. So we're saying stage 3 is get everything in order.
Yeah. Now listen, I was thinking just after listening to Jerry Harvey talking on our breakfast program yesterday, and he was setting out his case, saying that he thought that this would probably be the biggest Christmas ever for retailers. And then he started to talk about the price of the goods we buy, and he talked about washing machines, TV sets, DVD players. They are lower than they've ever been before. And what occurred to me, and this is not about going into debt, but if you've got things like fridges and washing machines or TV sets, the gadgets that we sort of call them, that are at basically historically low prices now, if they need replacing and they're wonky, perhaps now, while prices are down, before the interest rates start to really go up, would be the time to replace some of those things.
Yeah.
Bit counterintuitive, but you know.
Oh, look, it's a good call, and it's definitely one way to look at it. I think the main question is, do you need the replacement of it?
Yeah.
Or do you use this opportunity where you might have a little bit of extra disposable income to pay off some debt that you've already got?
What about no interest for 48 months?
Yeah. Again, one has to look at that particular, I suppose, the offers that are out there in terms of no interest, and just make sure that, although there's a lot of legitimate offers out there, interest-free, in a lot of cases, or in some cases, those interest-free periods might have included within them, I suppose, the price of the interest.
Yeah, I think you'll find that if you miss the 49th month, you might be up for the last 48 months' interest.
And by the way, when I was talking about replacing those things, I was also meaning that not if you've got debt that needs paying off, and secondly, don't go into debt to do it, but the prices are low. Why is it, do you think, Wilson, that people don't seem to worry about or focus on money until they sort of get into trouble?
I think we've got a unique and yet great culture in the way that the Australians generally carefree, go lucky type population, and I think we're in other times it's probably not a bad thing, because what we do is we don't get so psychologically involved in things like the global financial crisis, and it's probably one of the reasons why psychologically we're probably one of the first countries to at least see some light at the end of the tunnel. Although from a personal view, I tend to wonder, and although there's a lot of positive reports coming out, I'm a bit wary of the undercurrent that might be there as well, and I think we've still got a lot to get over.
Same here. Look, thank you very much for your time, and well done on the book.
Very interesting.
It's called Your Family, Your Money, Real Money Advice for Families, and this is aimed at families, and it's in the bookshops now. Thank you, Wilson.
No, thank you, Wilson.
Thanks for having us on, and not only that, keep up the good work, please.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Our
Bye.
pleasure. Good on you, Wilson. Thank you very much. See, he can feel the undercurrent as well. I was mentioning
sure
that earlier when I was talking to Dennis Shanahan. It's 9:29 with George and Paul. But that makes sense to me, Paul. If you've got a bit of money in the bank, and you're not in debt,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And you're looking at the wonky old TV,
Yep.
and you know maybe you're heading towards retirement, or the washing machine's really clapped out,
Yep.
and you think, you know, the prices are really low now. The prices are really cheap. Maybe now's the time to replace it. In a year or 2 years' time, the prices with inflation and interest rates might be a lot higher.
I can't think of them ever being low. Oh,
Yeah.
you know, years ago probably. But
Yeah.
and not only that, you go in these days with a handful of cash and they'll crunch. Hey.